Hi there and welcome to Get Well, Stay Well on Revelation TV. My name is Cyrus Fernando and once again delighted to be joined by Felicity. How you doing?
Hi there, Si. I'm really good. I'm really looking forward to meeting all the Revelation viewers in London on Saturday the 19th of July. Because we're having a little reunion, a Get Well, Stay Well reunion. Oh. People who've been on the course, people who are interested in the new patches that I'm talking about. So it's going to be really good fun.
What you mentioned the patches. What are the patches about?
Well, the patches are these amazing new things. It's revolutionising healthcare, really. So without drugs, without injections and needles, this is a new energy kind of medicine based on the Chinese traditional medicine. Because, you know, God has made us fearfully, wonderfully made, and we are infinitely intelligently made with all these energy meridians that work in the body, which Western medicine is really neglected. But there's a billion people in the world who swear to the fact that this works. They used to stick needles in, which was a nasty practice, you know, called acupuncture, which I don't approve of because I don't like needles being stuck in me. And so this is a way of just sticking the little patches which actually stimulate the hormones and the balance in our own bodies to clear blocked energy. And our program today is on the spine, so it all works out rather well, because when we have blockages of energy down the spine, as you know, the whole body is thrown out of sync. So I think today is going to be really interesting, and I've got a chiropractor called Norm who's going to be introducing it.
Now I'm just looking on the table here, and there's a variety of different colours and patches. Now, what are the difference between them there? Well,
it's been developed for the special forces. When I was out in San Diego, you know, I went out for the Cure to Cancer conference, and in San Diego, there's this firm that have produced these, basically for the US Special Forces and the Navy SEALs who do high endurance things. And so they've got energy patches. The red one is actually an energy one.
Do you want to just hold them up to the camera so the viewers can see?
Yes, can do. Lovely colours. I love the colours of these. So the red one is for energy. Now, because I've got a lung, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
Because I have a breathing problem, as you know, since I was so ill with pancreatic cancer many years ago, 11 years ago, I was really interested in strengthening my breathing, and so I started off with the breathing ones. I have a doctor friend here who's going to come and speak in London with me because I'm so impressed by this. It's transformed my life. Also, they have pain ones as well, and I've just been absolutely amazed at people on my courses who've been in chronic pain for years and are suddenly out of pain. It works within 10 seconds usually when you stick these patches on, but they have to be on the right energy points on the body, which of course relate to endocrinology, which I've started training in years and years ago with one of the world's top endocrinologists. So that's all the glands, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thymus, the hypothalamus, the adrenal glands, of course. It's really interesting, this stuff, and it works.
Excellent.
So it's drug-free.
You've tried this on yourself as well, haven't you?
I'm doing this all the time. I'm well patched up, Si. So they've got them for sleep as well, and that's been wonderful.
Can you just hold them all up to the camera so the viewers can see the variety of colours there?
Different colours there.
Do you want me to take it? Let me see if I can do that.
All right.
Let's have a look. Okay, let's see. It's like a card trick, Felicity. Okay, choose a colour, any colour.
It's like a rainbow, isn't it?
There you go.
So there are hormone balancing ones, and there's glutathione, and there's carnosine, and there's the Eon patch. But I can tell you that they really work. So it's not just one of these fly-by-night things. This has been tried for 5,000 years with the Chinese, who of course are very bright and always have been.
Just like the colours.
The colours are great, aren't they? I love the colours as well.
Okay.
So we're getting into the spine first, which will be the opening to it all.
Okay, so today's subject is spine health. And let's take a look at our first clip for today. This is Why is Spine So Important?
Hi, I'm Dr. Norm. And these are your Optimal Health Essentials, a series of conscious concepts to help you radically empower yourself and your life. Most people, when they think about chiropractic, they're only thinking about back pain and headaches. And then when they come to my office, they're surprised to see people getting better from things like rheumatoid arthritis, colitis, even asthma and allergies. Some even see children getting better with ADHD and colic. Please don't misunderstand me. I don't treat any of these specific diseases. What I do is align the spine. Now, why on earth would aligning the spine have so many positive health benefits for so many different people? Well, let's look a little closer at what all the spine does for you. So the first key role of the spine is structure. So your spine holds you up. Everything attaches off of your spine, your hips, your knees and your legs, your arms and your shoulders. Even your head is attached to your spine. And how important is structure? We have a saying in chiropractic that structure determines function. That's really true, isn't it? Let's look at some other examples in life. Look at the structure of a relationship. If that structure changes, notice how the function of that relationship will change. Or even the structure of a car. If the tires are out of alignment by a mere millimeter, it completely changes how that tire is functioning. It will actually cause an early deterioration of that tire. You can get a lot less mileage off of it. So your spine is the structure of you and your life. The second key role of the spine is that it houses and protects the spinal cord. And the spinal cord is the connection between brain and body and brain. See, every time that you contract a muscle, it happens from a message first being sent from the brain down the spinal cord to that muscle. And you've experienced firsthand the importance of the nerve system if you've ever sat on a seat for too long, perhaps in an airplane or waiting in line somewhere, and you get up to walk away and your leg is falling behind you. And well, it's not that your muscle has fallen asleep, but rather your nerve that's innervating that muscle has fallen asleep. Nerves control everything that happens inside of you. Your nerve system is known as the master control system of your body because it controls all of the organs, glands, and tissues. Your heart beats, your lung breathes, your stomach digests, your immune system wards off invaders. And all of this happens automatically without you even having to think about it.
Hi there, welcome back. There's a good overview about how the spine and the structure work. Let's just talk about the aligning of the spine. Why is that important?
Well, it's vital, Si, because once the spine comes out of alignment, it really affects the whole body and affects the mind as well. So, very few of us have ever had the spine checked out. I remember falling as a child quite badly and hurting my back. I also remember doing gym and coming out with my neck right on one side like this, and my mother said, "What on earth have you done now?" And I had dislocated my neck in gym.
Wow.
On the parallel bars. They do all these things with children. So I was taken to the Cape Town hospital, the Grootskeur hospital, where a very nice guy actually gently lifted my neck right off like that and put it back on my back correctly and said, "Don't do that again." Then, of course, I played a lot of sport during my life and had lots of injuries. And skiing, I fell really badly. And again, I dislocated my neck. So obviously, I have learnt the hard way that it's really important to keep the spine in good health.
Let me ask you, we might have some parents who are watching today and they're concerned thinking, oh, my child maybe does gymnastics or does sports and they do the roly-polies and everything like that. Is there a danger doing that? Could they really injure themselves?
Well, the teachers should be really trained and not allow the children to get into that state where they hurt themselves. Exercise is really good for us. But when you have falls off parallel bars or something, it's a bit more advanced, then of course they do get damaged. But the great thing is to do the stretching exercises. You know, I don't want to get too involved with yoga because of the other connotations of other religions, which obviously I don't want to do. I have Jesus in my life, so I don't need anything else at all. But the stretching exercises that you see people do with yoga are good. I mean, we should all stretch. When we see the cat and the dog first thing in the morning, what they do a wonderful big stretch. So I'm really into the stretching exercises and, you know, trying to stand as tall as you can. When you get to my age, you start shrinking a bit, so it's even more important to try and stand up straight. I line myself against the door and make sure that my heels, right the way up my body, including my head, I'm touching the door. And then you realize how far out of alignment you've got.
I mean, how important is it when we're just carrying on with our everyday lives and we're walking, something simple that we all do at some point in the day, we're walking, the difference of us walking hunched or walking with our backs up like that? I mean,
well, of course, it opens the lungs as well. When we stand up straight, we open the lungs, we open, you know, the digestive system works better, the pancreas isn't all sort of crammed in, and we're not all squashed in. So, of course, we're better when we stand up straight, and the blood flows better. And so when we're actually sitting at our computers and working, you know, we should be doing these exercises. And one of the clips later on is going to show how we can do those exercises, and how, you know, every hour when we're sitting at the computer, we should give ourselves 10 minutes just to relax and to go and have a good stretch and get some fresh air.
Now, it was mentioned on the clip the importance of the spine and how it's the structure of your whole body, but they also said it's the structure of your life.
Yes, that's true as well. Being straight and walking the narrow path as well, but it's very important that we should be balanced, that we should be aligned. And you know, people who have chronic fatigue syndrome and all the autonomic nervous system diseases like Parkinson's and MS, so many of these diseases which people find it really difficult to get rid of, they come from really being out of alignment. And it's really interesting to hear how these doctors say when they realign people, say asthma goes for a start, chronic fatigue syndrome goes. And we've all been taught, you know, to go to the doctor and get a drug. In fact, there are doctors called chiropractors, like Dr. John Bergman, who we've done lots of programs on, who are trained in natural health and trying to get the body balanced again. And that's the way I love to go. I love it when we integrate health, you know, so we have the medicine as it's always been practiced, taking the best of that with all the new things, the wonderful surgery and innovations that have helped me survive through the problems that I've had. You know, wonderful professor who stented my common bile duct, for instance, when I had pancreatic cancer. I wouldn't have survived if I hadn't had that done. And so we put everything together and have the natural things as well as the wonderful anesthesia that we have now. I mean, that's great. But when I think of the chronic pain I was in with the pancreatic cancer, which was really horrendous and didn't respond entirely to morphine, and I was on heroin at one stage. I mean, the pain was excruciating with pancreatic cancer. And if I could have had these patches, which you just put on. In fact, one of my great friends who was at school with me, this Chinese girl, Ruth, flew over from Canada, and she did actually treat me with the acupuncture points to help the pain. And it did work, but of course I hated the needles. I don't like people sticking needles in me, and she taught me, you know, how to do that myself, but still I didn't like the fact that you're piercing the skin. And so the acupressure is a different way where you just press on this area. You know, when people do on the hands, on the feet, this will actually respond to organs in the body. And you know, God has designed us this way, that we can do medicine that way. And it's a pity not to use these wonderful things that we have naturally.
Now you talk about acupuncture. I just want to know what your thoughts are on things like massages and relaxing the body as well. How important is that?
Well, that's really important because we have lymph in our body, which the lymph needs to move. This is why I advocate rebounders and people moving, you know, even if they're in bed, I've said, you know, bounce, for goodness sake, just get the body moving, because when we get the lymph moving, we get the circulation moving, our breathing starts to improve, and we really need to keep these vital signs, as we say, the vital things must be encouraged to work, you know, in the body.
Okay, so today's subject is spinal health. Let's take a look at another clip that we have, and this is further details on the spine.
The 70 trillion cells that are inside of you are coordinated through your nerve system, through some 3 trillion neurological events that happen every second. Of those, you're only aware of 2,000. Can you imagine the sophistication of all of this happening inside of you? Amazing, isn't it? The nerve system is almost like the underbelly of a shellfish. If you were to look at an oyster or clam, very soft and jello-like, very delicate. So much so that tiny little imbalances in the spine or breaks in the spine can have huge effects to the overall health and well-being of an individual. Prime example of this is Christopher Reeve, Superman. You know, he's doing like the movie and trying to fly, except this time he didn't fly. Fell off his horse and landed straight on his neck, broke his cervical vertebrae. And it affected all of the organ function below. He couldn't breathe without a proper ventilator. His digestive system shut down. His immune system was weakened. Now, many of us, thank goodness, will never have to face that sort of neurological trauma. But on a smaller degree, all of us do. And that the smallest imbalances in the spine can affect how the nerve system is working. Did you know that the pressure, the weight of a dime can affect up to 60% of the nerve function? Now just consider somebody who's out of alignment like this, or like this, or like this, the amount of tension and pressure that's going to be on the spine. For many people, it's actually pounds of weight or tension on the nerve system, not the weight of a dime. The resilience of the human body is really quite amazing. And for each one of us, we want to look to see if our spine is in proper alignment, so we don't have any of these tiny misalignments affecting the overall health and well-being of our body. That's only 2 of the top 5 most important aspects of the spine.
Hi there, welcome back. Just want to go through some of the statistics that were just mentioned on that. 70 trillion cells in the nerve system, and
well, yes,
3 trillion events in the body every single second.
It's interesting, isn't it? So while we're sitting here doing the program, our bodies are regenerating new cells, we're getting rid of old cells, and we're entirely dependent on what we're actually eating, drinking, thinking, as to what kind of new bodies we create. So I think it's really interesting, and this is a special drink that it's a vitamin drink, which is also made by the same people, and I think it's absolutely great.
Now, what's inside this vitamin drink?
Well, it's got basic nutrients, no preservatives, nothing nasty, and you actually make it up fresh. I just made it up in the flat before I came down here. And it's got some antioxidants in it, which are really important. And immunoglobulins, how about that? That's a big word. And colostrum, which is really important. So anyway, it's called an energy drink, and I was a bit skeptical because, you know, 25 years in this health business, I am very skeptical about everything. But in fact, when something works, and I give it power trials, and I've been back now sometime from America, so I have really tried this stuff out. I've tried every single one of the patches, and they really do work. I'm amazed.
What is your opinion on the energy drinks that are out there and currently in the market?
Well, most of them are quite toxic, of course, really toxic. And you know, my son, he's a triathlete into bodybuilding, all this stuff. You know, I'm shocked at the stuff he's drinking, and you just say to people, read the labels. Read the labels, see what's in there. And, you know, basically you can't beat the real juices that God's given us. So beetroot juice maybe this morning, or watermelon juice, all the different ones we do. The green juice is, of course, alkalize. So those are the very best drinks to have. But I needed some energy this morning, and I thought you did too, probably. So there we are. We've got our energy drink this morning.
There we go, feeling live and kicking.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention about the clip that we just saw. It talks about the break in the spine. If there's a break in the spine, it can affect the whole body. Now, we look at Christopher Reeves as an example. Just an accident, like we all know, he had an accident, and unfortunately the results of that is he's in a wheelchair and paralysed for the rest of his life.
Well, the thing was, the interesting thing is he couldn't breathe either. So this really indicates that the alignment of the spine and the health of the spine and going right up into the head is so, so important. And I think that a lot of people with asthma, breathing problems, chronic fatigue syndrome, I'm sure that they are misaligned. And so I think they ought to go and check out with their chiropractors wherever they live.
And even the smallest imbalance of the alignment in your spine can also affect your body, can't it?
Oh yeah, I dislocated a facet joint in my neck, which cuts off the way the blood goes up to the brain. I mean, you feel so dizzy. You know, these people who have Meniere's very often have got an alignment. They've actually had a car accident maybe with a whiplash injury, and when the neck is thrown forward and back like that, that can very often put you right out. And people suffer dizziness, giddiness. You know, this is not normal. It's the body's saying there's something wrong. Please do something about it.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our next clip. These are techniques how to stretch your spine. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mark Wiley, and I'm here today with Steve Hefferon, co-founder of the Healthy Back Institute. Today I'm going to show you a technique that originates in ancient China, and it's a technique for stretching the spine, releasing the tension, and freeing the nerves of encumbrance. It straightens out what they call the spinal subluxation, or misalignments, and the compression of the nerves, and loosens the paraspinal muscles. The way we're going to do this today is we're going to stand sideways with your feet a shoulder width apart, okay? And you want to start out raising your hands above your head. A key pointer here is that you want your biceps in line with your ear. It's very important through the course of the exercise that the arms stay aligned with the ears, because what you're doing here by raising your arms up is you're stretching out the upper back, which helps allow a separation or a decompression of the spinal area, okay? You're going to tilt your pelvis forward slightly because that straightens out the sacral area and the lumbar area. To start out the exercise, you want your spine to be perfectly straight. Okay. What we would need to do is to move each vertebrae one by one in sequence, like we're rolling it inward. And we're going to begin at the top, and you want to lower your head down, but keeping everything else the same. And as we lower down, you can see right here the low back is coming out, so we want to make sure we stay straight. And the ears are just falling beneath the arms, so you want to hold still. Make sure they stay together throughout the course of the exercise. And you want the head to tuck in all the way. Okay, let's start again. It's very important to keep these pointers in mind because you don't want 3 or 4 vertebrae moving at one time. It's the unstacking of them, the moving one, that creates that release. If 4 or 3 are moving together as one piece, you're not getting as much benefit from the exercise. You want to stretch each piece all the way down. Some people have difficulty with this because they feel like their lungs are being compressed while they're going down. And that's correct, but you don't want that to happen. So you want to start out taking a deep breath, and on the way down is one full exhale. Okay? And let's begin. So we start up here with the cervical vertebrae and into the thoracic. One by one, by one, by one, by one, all the way down until you're, and keep the head tucked in here, until you're as far in as you can get, and now you can breathe and just hang and relax for a moment. And this whole area, the entire spine, is stretched. It's in a stretched position now, and it's allowing the release. A lot of people feel heat across their mid-back and their low back from all that stored up energy that was in there. Now what we're going to do on the way back up is you want to inhale. So you're going to realign your arms with your ears, and you're going to keep your head tucked in and your arms aligned, and you're going to start off with the lower back only on the way back up. You want to realign the sacrum, the lumbar, and keeping all on the top scrunched in, okay? Because we're only undoing these pieces at a time here. And come up and unwind, and he's straight and relax, but keep your hands up and breathe. Okay, you take a few breaths, you let the blood move back down, and you want to repeat that sequence 9 times, down and up in a series of 9 times. You can lower your hands now, Steve. We're going to do it 1 time from the front, okay? So you can see from the front, feet shoulder width apart, okay? Tuck the pelvis, which means basically you're going to get about a 1-inch bend in the knee. Hands up above your head, biceps in line with the ear, stretch up, tuck the hips, the spine is straight. And we're going to curl in, okay? So breathe in and open your mouth and exhale on the way down. And you want to put in the head first, all the way in. The slower you go, the more benefit you will get from this exercise, but it takes a while to get it because of the breath control. At the bottom, relax, catch your breath. Enjoy the spinal stretch here. And then we're going to put our arms back in line with our ears and come back up, starting from the pelvis. While this is all still, the upper part is still curled in. There we go. As you see, he hasn't uncoiled here yet because he's still coming up. And come up as you breathe in on the way up. And then relax and let the shoulders drop here while your hands are up. And breathe for a few.
Oh.
And down. There you go. We were following the instructions, weren't we, Felicity?
Absolutely, yes.
Just reiterate to our viewers the importance of stretching the spine and the spinal exercise that we can do.
Well, that releases, it releases the energies. And, you know, we have a central nervous system, and we also have an autonomic nervous system. And so we need to harmonize the two, and then the body will start working. You know, we have all these trillions of cells that are on a constant conference call with each other, which is pretty amazing, really. They are all intercommunicating all the time. You know, when we see food, we start salivating in the mouth. I know you're hungry now, poor Si. You know, we have to realize that everything that we touch, everything we think, everything we do is going to have an effect on the whole body, physically, as well as mentally, spiritually. So, you know, there's thousands of vicars who are there trained, teaching people how to, preparing them for dying, and how many are actually health ministers who are preparing people to live an abundant lifestyle.
That's right.
When we come back to the Genesis word that God gives right at the beginning of creation, when He forms us from the minerals of the ground and breathes the breath of life into us. You know, we are energy beings, we're vibrational beings. And so to really be well, we have to look after the body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit, which we're given for this lifetime. So when we start looking after the body, and the spine is so vital, you know, we're able to live a much more abundant life.
Now, we've just obviously seen a clip there on how to exercise and how to stretch the spine. Apart from exercising or stretching the spine, how else can we maintain and look after our spine?
Well, the thing is, heat is really important. You know, I've got a sauna, a little portable sauna, which is quite inexpensive, and that is amazing for relaxing you. When I come off the phones, you know, I was on the donation lines last night, I get back home about midnight, and I'm really sort of being on the qui-vive with the telephone calls. It's really difficult to relax and get a good night's sleep. So I popped in my sauna, which is one of the little things you zip up like this. You sit in it, you zip it up. And within 1 minute, this wonderful heat makes you relax completely in the body. So I think that saunas, I think that hot baths, of course, are wonderful. And, you know, there's so many different things we can do, like We can book a massage, we can go to a spa, get in a jacuzzi. My goodness, we're so lucky. And if only we have a hot water bottle, for instance, you know how soothing that is for pain. So hypothermia, of course, is being used a lot for cancer now as well, because interestingly, cancer cells can't live in oxygen, they can't live in a great deal of heat. So they've actually, some of these clinics have got hypothermia units where people are heated up just to, you know, not burning, but heated right up, where it sort of induces like a fever in the body. And it's amazing how healing that is. And of course, that's why we get a fever if we are sick, because it's the body's way to burn off the toxins, to burn off the infection. And it's being used by Dr. Patrick Vickers, who I talked about in Mexico. He's doing that as well for people who've got stage 4 cancers and turning it round. So it is amazing, and I think we're learning all the time how we put integrated medicine together.
Now, what sort of advice would you give to some of our viewers out there who, for example, have an office job or a desk job and they're sitting at their office all day long? What advice could you give to them, how they can, the best way for them to maintain their spine?
Well, interestingly, there is a patch that you can put on that actually helps repel the electromagnetic radiation from the body.
Right.
I was just doing the research on that this morning, and I find that really interesting because I certainly live with my computer right beside me all the time. I've got the printer, I've got my mobile phone, and of course here in the studio we're surrounded with electromagnetic. So I think that, you know, it would be quite a good idea to protect oneself that way. There's David Wolf has done some programs on that, and he's written some books, and if you look up earthing, E-A-R-T-H-I-N-G, you know, there's a way of earthing this frequency down back into the earth, and protecting ourselves. You know, with the mobile phones we can have protection on those as well. So very interesting, because you see 50 years ago we didn't have all this stuff. You know, we actually wrote our events down in a diary.
Yes.
Instead of having all this stuff on our mobile phones. And I think that so much of the autonomic nervous disease, like Parkinson's, like MS, ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, all these sort of modern diseases have definitely proliferated in the last 50 years because of our lifestyle. So all we can do is live on our beautiful juices, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and green plant. I had some lovely Brazil nuts this morning for breakfast, so that's selenium and zinc, really good. And all we can do really is protect ourselves and our families as best we can.
Okay, so let's take a look at our next clip. It is important that we eat the right foods, but it's also important that we exercise. So this clip is going to talk about how we can exercise at home. Let's take a look.
What's up guys, Jack Jones here. You're watching Inferno, and this is a new series I've started that's going to give you full at-home workouts with very little equipment necessary. Their difficulty levels are going to vary. Today we're going to be doing a very simple beginner's workout. This is going to be done in a circuit fashion to promote maximal fat loss and to improve your cardiovascular endurance. And beginners really need to build up their core endurance and core strength and stabilization first. Otherwise, you're going to be at a greater risk for injury when you're doing other sorts of exercises. And here we go, just follow along with me and we'll get started. Start off jumping jacks, just to warm up. Do 1 minute of jumping jacks. This is just to get your heart rate up. Get the blood flowing, and get your whole body warmed up. "30 seconds left. And do it at your own pace. You don't want to be killing yourself right now. already starting to feel it in my calves and my butt. 5 seconds. All right, take a quick rest if you need to. Otherwise, we're gonna get straight into these, I don't know what they're called. I think figure skaters maybe. But you're just bringing your knee up to your opposite elbow. Keep your core tight the whole time. 40 more seconds of these. This is another good cardio and aerobic work exercise. Man, I feel out of shape. Jeez. 30 seconds left. And since we're doing these back to back, it really helps with the fat burning, helps with the cardio element. Just keep going. 14 seconds. And this, again, great for your core, great kind of total body, low impact workout. All right, there we go. Quick rest if you need to, otherwise we're going straight into planks. Make sure you can see me. All right, remember keeping your core tight, whole time, keeping it tight. If you need to, you can go to your elbows. Or stay up. Keep your core very tight. 30 seconds more. If you need to go to your knees, go to your knees, or if you just need to rest, then rest is fine. But get going as soon as you can. Ideally, you want to just go from one exercise to the next, no rest. 10 seconds. Let's see what's next. All right, good. Now we're gonna jump straight into a glute ham bridge. You're digging your heels into the ground. You're flexing your glutes and your hamstrings. You're thinking about pulling your heels in to your glutes, and you just want to hold it. Your chin tucked a little bit. Have your elbows digging into the ground. Your hips should be in line with the rest of your body. You don't want it to sag or be up too high. Now we're just gonna hold this 25 seconds. And really, you want to squeeze your glutes and squeeze your heels into your butt. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. You know, if you're gonna do this, do it right. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Keep your core tight. 11 seconds. Good job. Keep your core tight. 4 seconds. All right.
Hi there, welcome back. Apologise, I should have probably advised as viewer discretion. There was a gentleman without his t-shirt on, so apologies for that if that's offended anybody.
How can that possibly offend anybody?
I don't know, Felicity. I don't know. I thought I'll put it out there just to cover ourselves.
Good idea. Now, it was interesting, they were talking about the plank, the exercise there. Did you see?
Yes.
He's holding himself rigid there. And a lot of the viewers have probably heard of Pilates. Pilates exercises, you heard of that. And that is really good. And it was started by Joseph Pilates, who was a German, who was interned in England during the war. And just because he was a German, so he was suspect and had to be interned. And so he was in a camp, and he'd been a boxer and a circus performer. So he loved being really fit, and he thought, I've got to keep myself fit somehow. And he developed these Pilates exercises. Right. That's where the name comes from. Interesting bit of information. Anyway, really good for strengthening the core.
Just explain to our viewers about Pilates, who maybe some of our viewers aren't familiar.
Well, Pilates is a form of exercise. There's these special exercises for strengthening the core of the body. So it's around here, keeping the back and the stomach firm. And of course, the guys will get a six-pack, which all the guys apparently want to have a six-pack. The girls can have a six-pack as well. But the great thing is that it does strengthen your back, as it strengthens the abdominals as well. And the whole body responds by getting back into balance. So I just wanted to mention Pilates, and if people have got a chance to go to a Pilates class, that would be a very good idea.
Just explain, we're talking about exercise and stretching and everything. How much does that affect our mind, our mental strength?
Oh, very much indeed, yes. I mean, you feel wonderful when you've been out playing sport, as you know, your football, and if I can get on the golf course, you feel absolutely refreshed. It's being out in the fresh air and breathing lots of beautiful oxygen. And also you're with other people, you're thinking about something different. If you're playing a team game, you're part of camaraderie. So, yeah, you know, really important to get out and have some exercise. But of course, these little exercises we're showing today is for people who can't get out and they're really stuck at home and they want to get themselves fit. So my point is they don't have to go to a gym, they don't have to spend a lot of money on it, and you know, they're able to really get yourself fit in your bedroom virtually. Yeah. Okay,
so we've looked at how to get fit in your bedroom or your home. Let's take a look at how to get fit at your desk.
Hi guys, welcome back to Spinal Health Week. Today is day number 2. I'm Dr. Kirby and today I'll be showing you through a few postural exercises. Now, Dr. Tony mentioned yesterday that sitting for a long period during the day is not only bad for your spine, but can also lead to a lot of lower back pain, neck pain, headaches, and things like that. He also mentioned too that the average Australian is sitting for 16 hours per day, usually in this position most of the time. This can not only cause headaches, neck tension, all of those sorts of things, but can also really decrease our brain function as well. Today I'm going to show you 4 simple exercises that you can do every day at your desk, every hour on the hour, that's really going to reverse this posture that we're stuck in during the day. So I'm going to invite Dr. Tony in, who's going to demonstrate our W's, Y's, T's and L's. So first of all, we're going to get into the W position. Okay, so you can see here that Tony has made a rough sort of W shape with his hands. What he's doing, just turning to the side there, Dr. Tony, is he's really trying to push his head back into his hands, really trying to activate all of these muscles here up the back of his head. He'll hold this exercise and all of the other 3 as well for 15 seconds each, okay? That is our W. Then into our Y position, okay? So a similar thing, what Tony is doing is trying to push his head backwards, really trying to activate his neck muscles, turning to the side there. What he's also doing is squeezing his shoulder blades in together nice and tight, right through here. Again, he's holding this Y exercise for another 15 seconds. Our next one, into our T position. So again, pushing our head back, pushing our chin back, squeezing through those shoulder blades and holding that exercise for 15 seconds. And then finally into our L position. So keeping our elbows in nice and close to our body, really trying to squeeze back through those shoulder blades. Can you do a 360 for us? Really trying to squeeze back through here. So in total, those 4 exercises will equal 1 minute out of your hour every hour to really reverse this forward posture in.
Hi there, welcome back. Just an idea that how to stretch and what you should be exercising, how to exercise when you're at work.
Yeah, well, it's really important because, you know, we get so engrossed in what we're doing that we tend to sit there hunched over for hours at a time. And when I was writing my book, I remember I had a very good idea. I got an oxygen machine, which I'd had for my breathing, and I used to put it on beside me while I was writing. And so sometimes, you know, you can write for 5-6 hours with that, and you just suddenly realize, my goodness, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, but it's flowing. And I'm saying, Lord, you know, you're dictating so fast, I can't keep up on my computer. I've worn out so many different computers doing this stuff. But anyway, I had the oxygen machine on, and you know that oxygen is so amazing for you. Although I was not taking any exercise, my lungs were still oxygenated. And so I think that's wonderful when people come on my weeks, my Get Well, Stay Well weeks, and they're ill. You know, I put the oxygen machine on beside them. They can either have the cannula in the nose or they just have it beside them. And it just completely energizes them and also anyone else who's in the room. It's really interesting, and they say that we used to have much more oxygen in the environment than we have now. You know, apparently it used to be about 30% and now it's down to 12% in some towns. So, you know, if you're walking along in the middle of London, you know, and you've got all the buses and everything going by, you feel it's difficult to breathe, and it jolly well is, because in fact you're really short of oxygen. So if we can get into the fresh air and exercise, wonderful.
Because we always talk about the mind, body and the spirit, and it's just, it's the whole package, isn't it? It's, and when we say it's the lifestyle change, it's the lifestyle change. It's not just exercising or just eating the right foods. It's kind of combining everything together, but also perhaps to advise our viewers, don't do too much too soon. Just do it at a slow stage, at a very slow stage, and build yourself up gradually.
That's right, yeah. This is why I like people to come away on a get well, stay well holiday, because it's good to get out of the town, get to the mountains or the sea, and you know, start breathing the good air. That in itself is a holiday. It feels wonderful, and really important to detox, you know, to get onto the diet. So in the daytimes we have all, you know, free time for people to play sport or be at the spa or swim or whatever they're going to do, walk on the beach. And then in the evenings, I just teach from 7 till 10 in the evening, which is a good time because it stops people going and having a big dinner. So they have a little snack, and then we get into the teaching until 10. And maybe we'll have some nuts and we'll have some fruit, but that's all. And then people have a really good night's sleep, and then they're up early the next morning. So their body rhythm is getting back into the right rhythm, the circadian rhythm of you know, sleeping when it's dark.
When you speak to these people after they've attended your course and they go back to their everyday life, shall we say, and their everyday routine, how easy do they say it is to maintain everything that they learnt with you?
Well, hopefully they don't go back to the old bad habits. That's the thing. You know, they've learnt the tools how to change their lifestyle. So I can't get people well, but I can I can give them the tools so that they can get themselves well in their own environment. And also talking on the phone with people, because not everyone can come away on the holidays. So I can talk on the phone with people, and if I'm Skyping them, I can actually see them, which is a tremendous help. You know, you see the person, you hear the voice, you get the feeling of what they're going to need. And within half an hour, you can really change someone's lifestyle.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so we've seen how to exercise at home, how to exercise at work. Let's take a look at how to exercise while traveling.
Hi guys, this is Jess from Athlete XX for Women. I am traveling. We're in my hotel room right now. I brought my cameraman, and I'm going to show you how to tone your arms with this one piece of equipment. Hey guys, Jess here from Athlete XX for Women. I've gotten some questions lately about how to lose arm fat, and this is an important topic and one we're going to tackle today. First thing you want to do is clean up your diet and your nutrition by using the Athlete XX for Women nutrition plan, which is the easiest way to go because you don't have to count calories and you still get to eat the foods you love, but we show you how to combine them to get the best results. So check out that nutrition plan first, and then if you're looking to tone your muscles underneath, this is your workout. Today I'm going to show you something you can do with just the Athlete elastics. And for our first one, we're going to tone the biceps by stepping 2 feet on the band here. And then I want you to take a grip like underhand like this with both hands. And make sure they're even distance apart from each other. Get into your athletic stance, and you're going to do a curl, pulling it up to your elbows. Okay, and what's great about the resistance bands is not only that they're light and easy to travel with, I pack this in my suitcase and you don't even notice it's there, but also that it offers that constant tension. Unlike dumbbells, you're getting tension all the way up and all the way down, so it's a really nice burn for the muscles. And this next one's going to be triceps, where you're going to grab the band about here, and if you want it more challenging, you can come closer, and if you want it easier, go all the way to the outsides like this. Again, athletic stance with your core engaged, and you're going to pull apart. Okay, this is working your back and shoulders as well as your triceps. Okay, so extend the band as far as you can, and then release. Try to keep some tension on the band the whole time.
Now if you can find a place to anchor it, like I've done down here, I've just wrapped it around the bottom of the couch here. Make sure that you have something really stable and heavy enough to hold it, and then you can do some exercises like this, just like what you would do with a cable machine. Now let's do a tricep kickback. This time you're gonna grab with your palm and take that bent over stance. Your first step is to pull your elbow up, and then you're kicking it back and out, okay? So always keep your elbow up in that high position and really put that tension on your tricep. Now for toning the shoulders, which is an important part of finishing off your arms, we're gonna do this upright row with one arm. So you're pulling across the body, try to get your hand to line up with your shoulder, and the tension is right here on your deltoid. Okay. Always keep your athletic stance with your core engaged. And I'll show you from the back, looks like this.
Hi there, welcome back. It's just giving an idea to our viewers of how to exercise. Now, when people say exercise, some people think, oh, I have to go to a gym, I have to do a subscription, I have to pay a monthly fee. But it can literally just be as simple as that. You can do those exercises anywhere, can't you?
Absolutely, and with those resistance bands, you know, that's why I put them in my luggage as well, because they weigh nothing. And it just means that you can work out and keep yourself fit while you're staying in hotels. And you know, you just try to eat the right thing as well. You can always have the fruit salads, you can have the avocado pear, you can order the soups, order the vegetables. I mean, I very often say, no, I don't want anything on the menu, I just want the chef's best vegetables today, please, and just do them nicely for me. And you know, they actually take quite a lot of trouble to make that nice for you, and it's great.
Now, we've talked about exercise throughout the show and the spinal health and everything. You've just mentioned about nutrition and food and eating the right foods. What are the foods that we should be avoiding?
Well, we should avoid all the artificial things, the artificial colorants, the genetically modified foods, the wrong fats, the trans fats, which have been marketed so strongly, you know, that this was a healthy sort of food. In fact, you're better with pure butter, with grass-fed cows, rather than corn-fed cows. You're much better with that than you are with all the spreads and the trans fats that are only one molecule away from plastic, so that blocks the body, of course. And then the wrong sugars, because you know, all the processed foods are loaded with sugars, particularly the fizzy drinks. So people don't realize the sort of 8 teaspoons of sugar, you know, in a fizzy drink, in a tonic, for instance, tonic water, and all the ones that you see children having at parties. You see all these different fizzy drinks. You think, my goodness. And the baby formula is now, you know, laced with the wrong sugars as well. So wrong sugars, wrong fats, wrong salts, and
we should just be going on the Genesis diet, really, isn't it? And the fruits, the vegetables, and the juices. As
Dr. Mark Heyman said, you know, we need to get food that hasn't got a label on it. It's just God's real food. So lots of garlic, onions, carrots, as they were talking about earlier, you know, Howard and Leslie were talking about carrots in the earlier section. And it's really important that people just come back to the normal fruits and vegetables, raw if you can, otherwise cooked. You know, just steamed carrots are gorgeous, or marinated carrots. And we can get well and stay well.
Get well and stay well, and that is the topic of our programme every single week. Thank you so much, Felicity, for joining us today. Thank you also to our viewers. So just remember, it's so important for us to stay healthy, to exercise, to eat the right foods, and have the positive mind as well in life, and have the faith in God. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we're online, so our catch-up service is on revelationtv.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless, and take care. Bye.